Hi, I'm Simon from Homesite, and today I'm going to be looking at the new Aqara P1 Motion sensor and some cool new features it's got. Let's go! So for my regular watchers, it's been a while since I've done a video. I've been working on various other projects, but I've got quite a few new videos stacked up ready to come out. The first one with this Aqara Motion sensor, which has got a really cool new feature of a detection timeout, which the old one and most motion detectors don't have that sort of software configurable detection interval timeout. So that's really cool. I'm really excited about that. However, it does have a little quirk. So today I'm going to be taking you through the setup of it, through into Zigbee to MQTT, and also, of course, into Node-RED. I really hope you like this video, so give it a like down below, and of course, subscribe to my channel. So let's take a look. We have the motion sensor P1. As you can see, it uses the Aqara Zigbee 3.0 hub is required. Now, hopefully we're going to test this into Zigbee to MQTT and see how that works as well. I do have one of the older versions of these and it works absolute treat. Now, you've got a few things on the box. Configurable detection timeout, which is a new feature from the old one. Built-in light sensor, which is the same. 170 degrees field of view, which is nice. A 5-year battery life. That's pretty awesome. Obviously, this is recommending that it works with the Aqara Hub, something like the Hub M2, like there, or something like the G3, which has now been released in the UK. With the camera in it as well. So they're pretty cool hubs, but obviously I'm going to try and use it directly with Home Assistant. So let's. Okay. It's absolutely tiny, which is really nice if you just want to hide it away somewhere. Little plastic bag. Here we go. Not a lot else in the box. Just a little stand by the looks of it. Let's have a look at that. Nice couple of sticky pads, so you can stick that on. Universal, it weighs nothing. It's so light. Okay, so we've got the tab in there as well, obviously, for the battery. Obviously, just pull out the tab. And the thing I'm curious about is how you adjust the timeout, whether it's on a little screwdriver, a little grub screw inside, or whether it's software. I hope it's software. Nope, doesn't tell me a lot in there. Just as a comparison with the old motion sensor, I can't remember the model number, but I'll put it on the screen. It is a little bit bigger, as you can see, than the old one, but it's slightly more fully featured. It's ever so slightly wider, bigger diameter. You can see that those covers, they look like they're the same, don't they? With a little LED at the top. And you've just got a slightly deeper base as well. But either way, they're still pretty tiny. So let's get rid of the old one. And I'm going to pull this tab out. Crikey. That's quite a firm fit. It did come out, but it did seem like quite a firm fit. Oh, it's got a little install code QR code in there, look. Use lever here to change battery. See if we can pull that out now. Aha! Ah, we had a blue flash. I don't know if you caught that, but I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. It's much easier to remove that tab when you've got that lid off. So to change the battery, oh, it's got a little battery cover in there. Use a lever here to change the battery, okay? So look. Crikey, that was quite firm as well, but it did go. So this has got two of the batteries. I'm pretty sure the old one had a single battery. Maybe that's how they can get the 5-year life out of it. But there's no settings or there's no little screws in there or anything like that. Crikey, you can see that you're going to need to get that lined up. You can see these little, hopefully you can see that okay. You can see this little mark here and this one here. Just those little insets. They have to line up with the ones on the inside of the actual PIR itself. Doesn't look like there's a lot in there. I'm not going to attempt to take that out. Not just yet. So squeeze that in. Oh, that's quite a nice positive action. I didn't see it go. flash blue when I reconnected. So I've jumped straight into my Home Assistant. I've already got my Zigbee to MQTT set up. I'm running up with a CC2531, and for me it's been absolutely stable. You can see I've got a fair few devices. They all run concurrently with no issues at all. I've also opened up this Motion Office, which is the original smaller one that I've got. So it'll be interesting to see how it comes up and what it exposes. Now I can just going to hit permit join. And I guess I'm going to press and hold this button. I'm going to press and hold it, and hopefully we should see it flash on the front. That's what I'd normally expect anyway. Oh, there we go. Oh, I like that. You don't get that blue flashing like you do on the old one. So that's quite nice. So let's see if that's joined. Go back to here. There we go. We can see that's joined down at the bottom. Oh, it's pulled in the icon. It does show it slightly differently. So if I click on that one, nice. So it says, shows it as a Xiaomi. I can never say that. Apologies, Aqara. Human P1, human body movement and luminance sensor. See what it exposes. Aha, there's that detection interval. So if I click on this one, you can see there's no settings available in here. We're only getting outputs. So this is what I'm talking about from the old one. So we can see I've got 100% battery, and I've had that running for probably 6-9 months, something like that. You see it is occupied because it's picking my sensor up. It's 28 degrees in here, which it isn't. That's a bit high. According to, oh, look, another Aqara sensor is 21.8, and I would say that along with another sensor I'm looking at on my desk here, is probably more accurate. So we'll see what this one comes up with. 266 lux is probably about right. I have it nice and bright, obviously doing the filming. So let's see what we've got in here. Oh, 177 lux, although it isn't looking in a different place, so that could be true. Motion sensitivity low, medium and high. Nice. Detection interval from 0 up to 30 seconds. It's getting no temperature at the minute. Interesting. Link quality 73. What are we getting on link quality? Yeah, they're in roughly the same place. My Home Assistant's running on a little PC, not too far behind me. Just going to disable join there as well. Cool. Okay, I quite like that. So it is saying occupied at the moment. I'm just going to point it away from me, and we'll see if all the way down to 2 seconds. Ah, that's nice. So you can get right down to 2 seconds. So that's clear. So if I move my hand in front of it, occupied, 1, 2. Clear. Nice. That's cool. I like that. And let's just up that to something like 10. And just take it again. So clear. Occupied. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that was not quite right. Let's just refresh that again. It's very quick. It's very quick. I'm going to change it to 5. See, that's not good, that error message, I wouldn't have said. Let's have a little look in the logs. Now at this point I thought I was doing something wrong, because you could set the detection interval for around 2 minutes after the initial setup, but then it would just error, and you'd see that red error come up on the screen and it wouldn't change. So I tried it in Node-RED and I was getting exactly the same results. After about 2 minutes of it being set up, it would error and it wouldn't set. So I checked for some OTA updates and there didn't seem to be any available. It's a pretty new device and it's got the current software on there. So I thought, I will connect it up to the Aqara Hub M2. I've already got that set up and working, so it will be a pretty quick and easy test to make. So once I did, it worked and I could change the detection interval. However, it said press the button on the back after you've made the connection, and you had 30 seconds to do so. So I tried that a couple of times, did that for a duration of around 5 minutes, and it worked absolutely fine, flawlessly. But you did have to press the button. I tried it when I didn't press the button, and the effects didn't happen. So I then tried that back in Node-RED, and here we go. So this is what I have set up in Node-RED. Just going to clear my logs down. Now you can see here I've got some MQTT out nodes. So that's going to inject anything that I send in straight to this MQTT out. And you can see I've got my topic set up as Zigbee to MQTT / the friendly name of the sensor, which I've now set up in here. So you can see that's now called motion underscore office 2. So I've got motion underscore office 2, and I've got a get in here. And this one is similar with a set. So if I look at the injects node, all I'm doing is sending a JSON detection interval and then a blank, and that will ask it for the data. And you can see I'm not getting anything back. In fact, if I look in here, I will probably get a red error message. It seems to come in after about 10 seconds of trying, or 10,000 milliseconds as it says. There we go. So we can see that publish get detection interval to motion sensor 2 failed, and it's getting a timeout. Now if I do a set, I'll get exactly the same thing. Up here I've got my sort of logging setup, I suppose, for my debugging. So I've got a simple debug node here, which is just going to output anything from the message payload straight into this window here on the right hand side. This is going to pick up anything subscribing to a single topic, anything for motion underscore office 2. So anything that comes out on there is going to get passed into this debug node. I've also got an office occupancy, which is taking the status of the sensor itself. Now, if I wave my hand over the sensor, you can see that instantly goes to on, and this is the output from the Zigbee to MQTT. So this is the full message that's being received from the sensor itself. This is just the status. This is coming from this one here. Now you can see also it's gone to an off state, and so at the point where it's gone off, this is the full message again that's been sent through into Zigbee to MQTT and it's been interpreted into this off. Now you can see here currently I've got a detection interval as 2. Now if I try and set earlier, like I did earlier on, that will not have any effect. Now if you press the little button on the back, I am just going to clear this down as well first. In fact, I'm going to point it away. Clear. So I'm going to press the little button on the back, and then I'm going to set it. Oops, I should have done that first to set that to 10. I've probably still got enough time. If I hit deploy and I send that inject node, I'm going to just do it again. So I press the inject node and press the button. Now if I clear those out and press get and my button, you can now see that my detection interval has been set to 10, and I've got multiple messages, probably because I've done multiple things. I've pressed the button multiple times. But you can see I've changed it up to 10 seconds. And equally in Zigbee to MQTT, if I were to look into my exposes now, you can see that that's been set to 10 seconds. If I were to change that to, let's say, 30, and click off and press the button, I'm not going to get that error message for sure, and it is going to work. Oh, so that detection interval is now gone up to 30 seconds. And this is exactly the same if you're wanting to change the motion sensitivity from low to medium or to high. You need to make the change and press the button. The last test I want to do is just a comparison between the motion sensors, because who doesn't love a race? So all I'm going to do is take a copy of that, change this to motion office, and look for my original occupancy. I'm going to output that to the same message payload, deploy that. Clear my logs, and I've got the motion sensors on 2 different parts of my desk. So I'm going to put my hand over both at the same time. And which one won? The original one, motion office underscore occupancy. Nice, although obviously it won't go off for around 90 seconds, which is the only timeout on the old one. And obviously the new one, as we know, we can change the detection interval quite nicely. So it's safe to say I'm a massive fan of this new motion detector, and I love the fact that you can change the detection interval. Now I'm just going to walk you through very quickly through my Node-RED sequence that I use currently with the existing motion detector. So we all starts off with a change of state for the motion office occupancy. So if it goes on, it runs a couple of things. First of all, it checks to see if I'm home, and then it notifies me if I'm not. It checks to see if the studio lights are off, and therefore it can carry on and turn the lights on. If the lux level is below a certain level of 200 in the room, it turns the lights on. It also sends a log, but sometimes I keep that turned off. I'm going to come back to this delay in this reset node in a moment, and I'm going to come down to here. So if it goes from occupied to clear, i.e. the motion is now gone off, it checks to see if it's office hours. If it is within office hours, it sets a delay for 15 minutes and turns the lights off in 15 minutes after the clear has been received. If it's outside of office hours, it sets a delay for 5 minutes and turns the lights off. Now, what I was finding was, even if I was in the office working away, I would be it would notice the movement. It would then set that timer running, and it would always turn the lights off, but I'd have to manually turn them back on, or wait for the net, or move around in my chair a little bit. So what I've set is, if the occupied status goes to on again, it sets a little delay to allow the clear message to go through. It then sets this message delay with this change node. It goes message reset to 1. It then resets these. So if it basically re-notices some, is that a word, re-notices? If it notices again that there's some motion in the office, it then resets any delay that's set onto these to turn the lights off after 5 or 15 minutes. So if it senses motion again, it turns the delays off. And then it would, if it does notice a clear, of course, it will start that off again. But it works really, really nicely. So if you've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. And to be honest, I would recommend that you go out and buy one of these Motion P1 sensors if that's what you're looking for, if you're in the market for a motion sensor, of course. So finally, a bit of admin. I really hope that you've liked this video. I hope you subscribe to my channel, and by all means, check me out on Instagram as well, and so you can see what's coming up. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Simon from Homeside.